So John, how are you? How are you? How are you, man? It's been a while.
Ade
Even
Kankbeo,
though,
we're living in my world now.
yeah, you said that before. Even though we talk all the time, but every moment when we talk, it feels like
Yeah,
you know ages. You
yeah.
know, I feel that some of the predictions that we've talked about in the past, some of the things we've hammered about, especially on Techie Talk, how that these
Mhm,
things are now becoming a reality. I mean, the world
mhm.
we talked about that will be coming in the nearest future. We never knew the COVID-19 would be what would bring this world as early as it is.
Yeah.
I mean that's why we're here. That's why we're here today. That's why we're here. So, guys, I mean, let me first of all welcome everyone. If you're joining from wherever, thank you for joining us. We are here, like I promised, to have a series of conversations with the brightest of minds on post-COVID-19 possibilities. Now, that sounds really strange. Say, Collins, why would you bring this kind of topic when we're barely done with the COVID-19? I mean, people are still, in denial right here, even right here in Lagos. So why should we be talking about post-COVID? Well, the reason is not far-fetched, and that's why we are here today to explain to you what we should be doing as Nigerian youths and how we can prepare ourselves, or let me say, position ourselves for the world we now live in. So that's it. So if you're tuning in from wherever, stay tuned. We'll take your questions when the time is right. But if you are, just make sure you drop the question there, and we'll attend to when the time is right. So, John, let's get into the conversation. Post
Good to go, man.
COVID-19, possibilities. I mean, if you look ahead of us,
Yeah.
the predictions of what will happen, what's after this pandemic, it's looking like gloom and doom, especially for the African continent and Nigeria specifically too.
Yes.
But then again, it does present some possibilities and opportunities that we can leverage on. Is that true?
Definitely. 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 You want me to go right to them right now, or
I
are we
mean,
just doing preliminary?
are we good? We're good to
Yes, we
go.
are. We are.
We're definitely
Let me
good to go.
just. Okay. Let me just send a message out to my gang on Telegram.
All right.
Join me live here.
All right.
What? Just typed the wrong thing. Guys,
All
don't go anywhere. I'm about to give you guys some fire right now. All right?
right.
Just calm down.
Yeah.
All right, I've sent it out, and they should be my gang should be joining me here soon. All right,
Absolutely.
fantastic. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you so much, Collins, for sometimes clean my camera lens. All right. Thank you so much, Collins. Oh, that's better, maybe. Thank you so much, Collins, and the Nigeria Info for bringing me on here to talk about the post-COVID opportunities. Guys, the era that we are living in has never happened in our lifetime. All right. It happens once in a while, once in a couple of generations, but we're living in those times now. And one thing you have to understand is that when we talk about post-COVID, we're not talking about the time from after they found a cure and we are free to move around. No, post-COVID has already started. All right. And, if you look at Apple in China, they've reopened their factories. Things are getting back to normal, at least in China. But there are certain things that have changed around the world, all right? And in the way that we work and the way opportunities are being distributed around the world, right? Now, this is a message I've been talking about for a long time. I've been on your show, Collins, a number of times. We've made all these predictions. But we didn't know that it would be COVID-19 that would be the accelerator of the change that we were foreseeing.
That's right.
All right. So first of all, let me explain something to you that I call blood in the water. And first of all, how long do I have, Collins? How long do I have?
Throughout the next hour,
Hour. Oh, good. I'm a long form speaker. I thought I had very short time. Let me balance here. I thought you were giving me like radio time, 15 minutes.
But we'd have breaks. We'd have breaks and take questions. You're like,
okay.
You just like talking. But let's talk.
Yes. So there is blood in the water.
Yeah.
And I know that there are people on social media that were telling you, okay, take it easy. don't take it too hard on yourself, don't get under pressure to be productive or learn new things. What the hell are you talking about? Somebody in the first world is telling you, oh, you know, calm down on productivity, and you say third world native, you the chopper. Do you have sense?
You don't have.
It's like it's only me that knows the kind of country I was born in and that I am forced to thrive in. All right? You are living in a, listen guys, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, maybe you need me to remind you. You are living in a country, yeah, that is so unstable that an oil war is being fought many miles away, many miles away. But you far away in Nigeria, it's affecting you. Russia, Saudi Arabia are fighting an oil war somewhere. And if you go and read the dynamics of what that price war means, even though I think it has come to an end now, but we in far away Nigeria are bearing the consequences. Now, why are we bearing the consequences? Because none of our leaders, nobody in power, has been able to foresee and hedge the citizens against what will become the consequences of a far-away oil war. And so you in Nigeria, you are your own government. So because Russia and Saudi Arabia are fighting an oil war, you know, the US is trying to intervene and other powers, because of that, consequently, Nigeria being an oil-dependent economy, is unable to sell enough. Of course, if maybe you don't know what the price war means or meant. You know, Saudi Arabia, the OPEC said that all producing countries should reduce their production so that prices can remain stable. It's all demand and supply, you know. But Saudi Arabia and Russia were having their own fight. Saudi Arabia said, okay, we have plenty of oil. We can afford to drop our prices very low. All right. Now, what happens when Saudi Arabia drops their prices very low is that everybody goes to Saudi Arabia to buy oil. They will not buy Nigerian oil if it is too expensive, relatively more expensive than Saudi Arabia oil. So what Nigeria has to do now in order to remain competitive in the oil market is to drop her own prices. However, Nigeria cannot afford to drop prices too low. And because of that, we have a lot of oil that we can't sell, or we have a lot of oil that they are buying off very cheaply. And so we don't have all that oil largesse anymore to fund our economy. Back and forth now. They have now done increase the volume on the naira. We are now buying $1 at 425 naira. I'm sorry, I have to explain all of this to let you understand that you are not in any ordinary country. This is a country you cannot afford to be at ease. Now, I'm not laying blame on any leadership or anybody. I am laying responsibility on you watching me, that Nigeria is a country where you cannot afford to be at ease. Now, if somebody in the first world, in America, is being a crybaby, I will understand. That's a country that they are sharing money during Corona time. They are sharing $1,200. Canada is giving $2,000. Nobody's giving you anything in Nigeria. You want to just relax and be like, oh, I'm under more pressure. Which pressure? Did you fight civil war? Which pressure? What are you talking about? I mean, everybody's just so soft these days. All right? This is a country where any small thing happens in the global scheme of things, it affects us in Nigeria. So you can't afford to be at ease. Your antenna has to be high, increasing your buying power, increasing your skills, maintaining your relevance on a global level. Sorry, Collins, go ahead.
Yes, we'll go into that. I'm happy you had to establish the fact that we're broke, and we live in a country where things hardly work, and this fact has to remain. And it's not a question of whether or not it's true. And also, before you continue, I want to ask you about this. A lot of people still think that after the COVID-19, we are going to have our world like we used to have it. Now, before I came on, I tweeted, just my last tweet was, take notes. We're not, COVID-19 has changed the world forever. And it's never going to go back to what it is. I tweeted that. I want you to explain shade more on this, because a lot of people still are waiting. You know, a lot of people are at home now. We don't have money to eat. We don't have food. Hey, the government should do this. They are waiting for this to be over. I hear people say this a lot, that we're waiting for this to be over. When this is over, I'm going to do this and do that. So are we ever going to go back to the world we live in?
So one thing you have to understand is there is blood in the water. And I know I said that before, but let me explain what that is, all right? Now, when I was a kid, right, I was around 4 or 5 years old, and the neighbor's dog bit him really badly, right? And when my dad came back from work, I told my dad that, the neighbor's dog, he bit him, and he was bleeding on his hand. And my dad said, oh no, that means now they'll have to put down that dog. I mean, I didn't understand. I said, why? Why would I have to put down the dog? And he said, because when the dog has tasted blood now, it will want to be biting people because it's now is attuned to the taste of blood. And so at that age, I understood that concept. But as I grew older, I was able to make that apply to a lot of other areas in life. Now, right now, so many companies are tasting blood. And I'll let you understand how. First of all, they are being forced into a place of inconvenience. What is that place of inconvenience? All their staff have to go home, all right? And so those who are still forced to work, those who still want to work, have had to find a way to get their staff to work from home. I'm going somewhere. Now, it's going to be very inconvenient for a while. Because they've not done it before, all right? To be inconvenient. But after a while, they'll realize that, okay, we are still in operation even though all our staff are at home. Interesting. What could this mean? Do you mean that we are wasting a lot of money on this big office space? So we are spending a lot of money on bills, utilities, taking care of this big edifice, and our workers are at home anyway. So even when Corona is over, they'll be asking themselves these questions that, this Corona has made us ask ourselves the question, how are we going to justify paying for this office space when we can just rent a small office, have maybe like two very critical staff on site, and have everybody else work from home? That's one. Two, almost half of the workforce is going to be laid off. Why? Because not everybody knows how to work from home. Work from home doesn't mean that you are techie alone. It's part of that, but that's not all it means. It also means that you have the emotional wherewithal to work from a home environment. There are some people who don't know how to work from home because the bed is close by. And so you feel a little bit tired, you dash for the bed. Meanwhile, you couldn't have done that in the office because the office is optimized for work. And so very soon, guys, mark my words, very soon, there will become a standardized certification for remote working. Companies now, standardized, to kind of be like the way we have our icons and all those certifications, right? Yeah. So in the same way you have your skills, they will ask you, can you work from home? That's an opportunity. You see, blood in the water is an opportunity for everybody. All right, there's an opportunity right there. I'm still coming. There's a lot I have in the bag. All right.
Absolutely.
So the companies in hiring will now be asking, hey, we realized that we're not always going to be able to convene in the office. So can you work from home? And it's not be by, yes, sir, I can work from home. No, wait your certification. You have to go and be certified by a body that has put you through the rigors of the emotional mastery, handling your space. Don't tell me, oh, I had 24 children at home and that's why I couldn't submit our reports. No, they want you to be able to certify that you have the emotional wherewithal to maintain your space, whether you are on site or off site. That's one. Another thing that's going to happen is the tech wherewithal. Companies are going to be like, okay, that means we don't really have to buy a lot of physical infrastructure. And that is where the term of remote desktop comes into play, where you can be in one location and access a computer somewhere many miles away. So there's something called remote desktop, okay? Remote desktop. Those of you use Windows, something called Microsoft Remote Desktop, all right? That application enables you to take control of a computer in the cloud. So companies will no longer have to be buying physical workstations in the office. So take, for example, now Collins is right there in his home office. And when there was no Corona, Collins had a secretary, all right? And in that your office, there's a computer that the secretary has to work from. And now that secretary requires specialized software that's maybe very expensive, right? And now that this secretary is working from home, you can't carry the laptop home, or he can't carry the company computer home. There has to be a way he or she can connect from their home to that computer in your office. And that is what remote desktop allows people to do. So there are so many technologies that enable that remote working to happen. So where that will now go is that people will now foresee the need for many people around the world to connect to a single location from wherever they are. And they'll start having cloud services that have always been in existence, but only techies have been really using it. I use it all the time, all right? I use a MacBook computer right? But in my work, there are some apps that can only work on Windows, right? I don't have a Windows computer. However, you can go to, there are 3 big players in the cloud computing game. There's Microsoft Azure, there is Amazon AWS, that is Amazon Web Services, and there is Google Cloud Services, right? There are the 3 big players, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. You can go there, and for $10 a month, if you are paying to like Amazon, for $10 a month, you can have a virtual computer in the cloud. With Windows, you can install software on it, you can browse on it, or you need to use to have internet access from home, and you can connect. Anybody in any part of the world you give password to can access that computer. That technology is called VPS. It's called a virtual private server. For those of you who are very sharp businessmen, write these things down because these are going to be the post-COVID opportunities. VPSs. Companies are going to be asking, please, who can help us set up virtual private servers for our workspace so that our workers can connect to the office computers right from home. So that's going to become one of the big opportunities. I'll keep on going, but maybe you have some more questions before I head over to the next point.
Absolutely, a lot of questions. Since you mentioned the VPS, now let's come back to the reality of our world. You know, imagine the number of people who before now would rely on Owambe, let's say wedding parties, events generally. The events industry should be shaking right now because whether we like it or not, the coronavirus has made us, you know, for a long time we won't allow physical contact that much. Whether we like it, even if we want to do it, even if they say there's a vaccine today for coronavirus, trust me, it will take us a while before you can freely take a person's hand. That's the truth. So now that we are moving in the world that will see less of physical contact, some of these event industries are worried. Imagine how big the event industry is. I mean, entertainers, all these events. What opportunities would this present? Especially since you mentioned the VPS, what opportunity would this present? Is it time for us to be innovative, and how can we, you know, now be in business, especially now that we don't have to meet physically?
Fantastic. So let me give you a story of how I became famous, Collins. Let me
so right. Apologies, first of all.
Most people who are on the broadcast right now who know me have probably never met me in person, but they have met me through my webinars. And so I was forced to innovate because of the circumstances that I found myself in. You're asking me about the event industry. Now people are being forced to innovate. Live streaming has been around for a long time. I mean, it's not something that we should just be looking at. We've done that for a very long time. People in the event space simply need to make a pivot, maybe briefly, because eventually this will subside. It may take a while, but it will subside. But in the meantime, is there someone in the event industry who can make a brief pivot and create a platform for people who want to hold virtual events? Is anybody thinking about that? Because listen, the world is not going to bend because of you. No, you have to be flexible to bend to where the tide is going. All right. And now things are virtual. And I'm like, oh, there's no hope. My business is down. Yes. I'm sorry. The dinosaurs were also crying back in the day when the ice age and all those things were happening and the change in climate, and they couldn't adapt. All right. So you are going to have to adapt. You're in the event industry. You're not in the industry of creating a tent. The tent is not the event, just much like the church is not the building.
That's right. That's right.
All right. And so churches have been forced to innovate, and they found a way to congregate online. It's the same thing. A church is an event. And so those who are into secular events, not the same thing. Find a way to make it happen online. All right. So what kind of events do we have? Musical concerts. Asa had a musical concert on Instagram Live a couple of days ago.
That's right.
You know, I tuned in. I was watching that. All right. Lady Gaga is organizing a musical concert, and she's called on her celebrity friends together. Tory Lanez has been going live a lot, doing some kind of shows, performances. But people are being forced to innovate. Okay, so whatever industry that you're in, find a way to take it virtual, or find a way to be a provider to those who are taking their businesses virtual.
Wow. Sorry, my light just went off there. But it's lovely, fantastic points about say.
Yes, sir.
I mean, find a way to take it virtual. Now, that leaves you with the question of, well, before the virtual world, I used to make X amount of money. You know, when I go out to a show, they pay me this amount. But now, how do I also make money? I mean, I can't just be singing for people virtually and not getting stuff from me. So the question remains of, how are there possible ways? Let me put it that way of making as much or something close to what you used to make physically online, or even more.
Okay, so this is one of the prices. This is a price that the Nigerian industry will have to pay for its unwillingness to innovate. All right?
Can you explain that?
Yeah, I'm going to explain that. Nigeria is such a slow country when it comes to innovation. Anybody who works in tech on this broadcast, if you work in tech, you understand. You will bring this thing to maybe musicians or whatever industry because they already have, and even churches. You will bring certain innovations to even churches and all these industries because their existing model is working. If it's not broken, why fix it? That is their mindset. Okay, we're able to come to church and meet every Sunday. So why do we need to do this live stream? Why do we need online giving? Why do we need to be on Spotify? You see where I'm going? Why do we need to be on iTunes? Why do we need to? Drake, one of the best rappers in the world, or the most prosperous rappers in the world, Drake released a song, Tootsie Slide. All right? Tootsie Slide. Nice song. Viral song. He released it during Corona period.
Yeah.
Guess what? He's making money. Why? Distribution platforms. Our people say, you don't prepare for war on the day of battle. It's not now. Musicians will be asking, okay, so how do I now get on Spotify? How do I now get on iTunes? Should I be putting on SoundCloud? Okay, now we're on SoundCloud. How do I now monetize? No. People like Drake who have been even though, let me tell you, Drake goes on tour. He does shows. He makes a ton of money without streaming. But now during the Corona period, he can't go on tour. He can't hold shows. But guess what? He released a song during Corona period, and he's making money from it because the song is published to Spotify. It's published on Deezer. It's on Apple Music. I don't know if it's on Tidal, but they have mastered the art of digital distribution. They've distributed online. And so now Drake can come on Instagram Live and do a show. All right? You may not pay for the show. All right? But he's using the live show to promote his music.
That's right.
So after the show, you're like, man, I want that song that he was demoing on Instagram Live. You get on Spotify. And every time you stream that song on Spotify or Apple Music or any of those platforms, he gets paid. Every single time you stream, he gets paid. And so that is what our industry is supposed to have been doing since. But anyway, Yoruba say anytime you wake up is your morning. Abi? Good. So what they've got to start doing.
That's a little harsh, but it's the reality.
Every time you wake up is your morning, so just start waking up now, all right? And just to digress a little bit, I realized that a lot of artists, I'm so sorry to say, a lot of artists depend too heavily on record labels. You ask artists, an average artist, how do you upload your song to iTunes or to Apple Music? They're like, the record label handles all those things. They have a distribution team. They handle. No, we are coming to listen. In Obodo Yibo, there are so many artists that are doing well and they are not signed. They are not signed to a record label because they have been able to democratize music. They've been able to understand how to distribute their own music on online platforms, the ones that pay, Spotify and co. They've been able to master independent distribution. Some have made their own mobile apps. All right? How many Nigerian artists have a mobile app? How many? So no, when I say things like, oh, Nigerians are slow to innovate, they'll be like, oh, John Obidi, you are too harsh. How many Nigerian artists have their own mobile app? I can count them on the hands of one finger with some to spare. But go to the abroad, they have the full package. All these musicians, they have their app. Kim Kardashian is not a musician. She has an app. She made millions of dollars from it.
Some artists have games. I mean,
they have games. Kim Kardashian's app is a game.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kanye West was rapping on a song. I went to a Kanye West song last night. Kanye West was rapping that his wife's app was making $1 million every second when they launched. That was that's big flex from home. What has Corona got on that kind of business model? All right. So people have to be. We have to be diligent here. We have to be technologically diligent. I hate it. When Nigerians, third world Africans will be telling me, I'm not a techie person. Are you serious? Do you look around you and see where you were born? You don't have the right to say you are not a techie person. You have not ended that right. No, let the first world native.
You say that again. You can say that again.
Let the first world native be lazy. I will understand because their government is dashing them money. Absolutely. Let the first world native be relaxed and be like, I'm not a techie person. Let them be choosing food. But you, here, you're telling me, the hunger will there. That's why you have sense. Shaming now, Corona has knocked everybody. Everybody is now coming to look for the online. So the point is, you are born in third world Africa. You are born here in third Africa. Now, it's not all gloom and doom, but it's to prepare you that if there's anybody in any part of the world who should be a native to technology, it should be you, because that is your only option. That is what made me great. I looked at where I was from. I'm like, look, guy, my papa no get, my mama no get. Only tech will save my life. And I went deep. I can sit down for 6 hours studying how to make things work. And then I'll come on Instagram Live and teach it to you in 20 minutes. That's the diligence that I'm expecting from everyone in the third world.
All right, lovely, John. We have to take a quick break now, even though I'm
just
interact with those who are watching from wherever you are watching. Guys, if you have a question, just drop your question there. You have a comment. I want to be posting some of those things John has said. He said a whole lot. And I want to believe that everyone watching this video today will remember today for good and say, look, I remember the day I heard these words that changed my life. And, no one has the right. I mean, I got that. No one has the right to say they are not a techie person, because technology pretty much has give birth to you. Technology pretty much give birth to you if you think about it, because and you don't have the right to say that. And this is becoming more and more a reality, especially for third world Africa. And there's no doubt, there's no gainsaying the fact that there's nothing like laziness in this time.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to do it in this time. There's nothing like things will get better. You've established this fact, and we're really glad it also. So we're going to go into some of your hacks, because the truth is not everything can be said here in one session, in one live video conversation. But we're going to some of your hacks just so people can learn and start today. For those who probably are feeling down, because a lot of people actually feel empty. So we're going to some of your hacks, also touch on the psychological effect this would have on a lot of people. I mean, I remember some time ago you talked about, we started shouting about, the psychological effects of, the beautiful technology and social media, and how we can manage it and all that. We had that conversation in the past. That this also would have a psychological effect on, especially, I'm just looking at those who have been living what they call the fake life. If you remember, one of my very popular questions to you in the past has always been, who is an influencer? What makes you an influencer? Are we entering a world when the real influencers will be separated from those who probably were chasing clouds?
Well, yes. I mean, I was on a webinar with Olakole Shoronyo a couple of I think it was last week. And there's something he said on that webinar.
Shout out to him, by the way.
Yes. So something he said about the whole...
Sir PK, let me greet Sir PK. Sir PK, I greet you. I hail you. Well done, sir.
Okay.
Good work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about influencers versus cloud chasers, right? There's something he said that was very painful. Very painful to a lot of people, right? He said, look, before now, only a set of people were online, okay? Whether they have sense or they don't have sense. They just had a lot of followers because they were the ones that were online. Listen, Corona is going to push certain people online. People with superior intellect. So don't be at ease because you have a few million
people
followers.
Will get sense. People will get sense.
Yes. People will get sense that were offline before. Because maybe they're public speakers, their business works offline and all that. So they've not really had any incentive to come online. But they have the goods up here. Now, they've been offline before, but Corona is forcing us all to come online. The minute they come online and they open their mouth to talk, and the public will be like, who is this guy? Who is this woman? Wow, so much sense. Where did they come from? Where have they been all my life? they are going to get followership rapidly. And there's going to be a demarcation between actual influencers and the cloud chasers that you're talking about. Now, many people who are on this broadcast now, they're probably hearing me speak on Instagram Live for the first time because I'm a Facebook guy. Most of my sermons happen on Facebook. I don't do much of my sermons on Instagram. So I'm one man on Instagram and I'm a different man on Facebook, right? I play a bit on Instagram, all right? But now, somebody hearing me and be like, man, I don't know that John Obidi Sabi book like this, so just now you go Sabi, all right? All right? So they'll be like, wow, I don't know that, wow, who is this John Obidi? How come I've not known him all my life? Where have I been? I've been sleeping on a bicycle. Wow, let me go and follow him. Bob, let me check his bio, the link in his bio, subscribe to his email list, follow him on Facebook, download his app, buy all his products. Amen. Yeah. So,
amen.
So, you know, and that's what happened. And so there's a lot of people who have been offline before. And once they come online, we're going to separate the boys from the men, the women from the girls, the influencers from the clowns. All right. And now people are looking for inspiration. People are looking for learning. People are looking for knowledge. At some point, people are going to realize that, look, there's a place for comedy. But right now, food not the house. How do I survive? I need people with answers. And so there's that breed of thought leaders that is going to take the center stage. And people will organically look for knowledge. Before now, any small thing, Nigerians, they are so easy to entertain. Small thing, they make jokes with everything. She'll be on everywhere now. People now look for more. Gary over there also. I learned how to make money online. That thing you were telling me 3 years ago about making money online. How when they do, I'm saying, hey, please, I beg, when is your next workshop? When is your next webinar? When is your... That's going to happen, all right? And so this period is going to make that demarcation to happen. And so so it's also a call to those who you know you have the goods, right? But you've never really, the corona has forced us all to take center stage. Yeah. You have to know that there is a waiting market for your knowledge, all right? Get past the fear. I mean, I'm right here on this broadcast. Some people are watching me, 140 people are watching me, all right? Yeah. If half the people here are saying, who be this guy say? What did they talk say? I am very confidently sitting here addressing those who love me and those who don't love me. None of my business. The only thing that matters to me is my agenda. All right? And so those of you who have knowledge, all right, you need to find a way right now to start putting out your knowledge. Start making collaborations. All right? Reach out to those who do broadcasts. Look, Nigeria Info has how many followers? Let me see. How many followers do you have? You have 40,000. I'm looking at you now. You have 40,000 followers. I have about 40,000 followers too, right? My followers will see Nigeria Info. We are live together. So my followers will follow you. Some of your followers will follow me. We'll cross-pollinate. My followership grows. Your followership grows. Thought leader, those of you who have sense and are in the business of teaching and sharing knowledge, this is the time for collaborations. Do mixed live broadcasts like this. Your followership is going to grow, okay? And so that is the opportunity for thought leaders, for teachers, for trainers, for consultants. And in the next couple of weeks, trust me, to answer your question, there will be that clear demarcation between the cloud chasers and the actual influencers. What's an influencer? An influencer is a person who can move you to a point of action. All right? Now, if right now I am telling you, listen, guys, go and study these things. Remote working, go and study cloud computing, go to Azure, Amazon, Google.com, and look for their Google Cloud services. People are actually taking notes. And after this broadcast, those websites will get a traffic spike. That is called influence. Right. And that is the level I'm calling everyone listening to the sound of my voice to get to doing within this post-COVID period. Because we are in the post-COVID period. There is blood on the water. And like I said, there is fire on the mountain. No one is running.
And no one is running. People are
no one is running.
People are asking, when is the government going to give us allowance? The government is broke and looking for where to get the money.
Government is coming, actually. They will soon share Gary. Just wait. Be patient. The patient dog gets the swollen Gary. Gary is coming. Wait for the government.
All right. So just so you don't misinterpret our gestures here or our gesticulations or even our expressions to mean that we don't take seriously the happening of this pandemic. I mean, you know what a pandemic is. I mean, it's a heavy blow to Mother Earth. But we are trying to identify, what we should be doing. Not what we should be complaining about, what we should be doing to survive, what we should be doing to change our world. And that's the essence of this live sessions that I'll be having with some of the brightest minds, like I mentioned. Now, this is the very first. It's not over yet. I'm seeing 1,000,000,001 messages that's a lie, but you know what I mean. I mean, a large number of messages I can't take all, but there's one here coming in from Rossi Toby. It says, "Word, you don't prepare for war on the day of the battle, and that's quoting John Obidi. So let me just take a few more. Right, someone says Tory Lanez dropped an album this time too, and all his 200K viewers streamed from it, and he made some money. So someone is saying distributing platforms, wow. Man, he said, this thing. Someone, Uche, is saying, this thing to you. Uche, can I say, this thing? Well done. How do I now go on Spotify? Come on, wait. Someone is actually quoting some when you are making a joke of that. Someone said, what a problem. Yeah. So many amazing comments here. It said the internet gives everyone the leverage, even the supposed underdogs. Lovely. So now we're getting into this, no doubt.
Like that.
The brands also would even change their way of doing business, especially in this industry. John, it's looking like we're not going to have an end to this. We would have a part two.
I'm always ready.
So guys, if you wanted to have a part two, somebody. Okay. What's the time? Do you have a time close to you?
The time is 6:52. Okay. 6:52 p.m.
All right. Wow. That means we have about say 8 more minutes or thereabouts. Now, we're going to end this in a moment. Before we go into your hacks, all right? You touched on something very important. I want to go back to it. It has to do with, in a way, saying that we have been lazy, especially with the use of technology and especially innovation or creation, or any of that. Now, for typical example, we all on Instagram are using this platform right now. Everyone is jumping on TikTok. Everyone is jumping on this platform. But there's no one of these platforms that you would say is locally owned or was created by an African to suit the Nigerian market. Is it not time for us to start doing our own Zoom, coming up with our own TikTok? Is it not time for us to start, creating stuff? Imagine recently, a typical example, Google